How could the divine activity work on me as its object, nay, work in me, if it were essentially different from me? How could it have been a human aim, the aim of ameliorating and blessing man, if it were not itself human? Does not the purpose determine the nature of the act? When man makes his moral improvement an aim to himself, he has divine resolutions and divine projects. But also, when God seeks the salvation of man, he has human ends and a human mode of activity corresponding to these ends. Thus, in God, man has only his object as an object. But for this very reason that he regards his own activity as objective, goodness only as an object, he necessarily receives the impulse, the motive not from himself, but from the object. He contemplates his nature as external to himself, and this nature is goodness. Thus it is self-evident, it is mere tautology to say that the impulse to good comes only from thence which he places to God, the good. God is the highest subjectivity of man, abstracted from himself. Hence, man can do nothing of himself. All goodness comes from God. The more subjective God is, the more completely does man divest himself of his subjectivity, because God is, per se, his relinquished self, the possession of which he, however, again vindicates to himself. As the action of the arteries drives the blood into the extremities, and the action of the veins brings it back again, as life in general consists of perpetual systole and diastole, so it is in religion. In the religious systole, man propels his own nature from himself. He throws himself outward. In the religious diastole, he receives the rejected nature in his heart again. God alone is the being who acts on himself. This is the force of repulsion of religion. God is the being who acts in me, with me, and through me, upon me, and for me, is the principle of my salvation, of my good dispositions and actions. Consequently, my own good principle and nature, this is the force of attraction in religion. The course of religious development which has been generally indicated consists specifically in this, that man abstracts more and more from God and attributes more and more to himself. This is especially apparent in the belief in revelation. That which to a later age or a cultured people is given by nature or reason is to an earlier age or to a yet uncultured people given by God. Every tendency of man, however natural, even the impulse to cleanliness, was conceived by the Israelites as a positive divine ordinance. From this example we again see that God is lowered, is conceived more eternally on the type of ordinary humanity, in proportion as man detracts from himself. How can the self-humiliation of man go further than when he disclaims that the capability of fulfilling spontaneously the requirements of common decency? The Christian religion, on the other hand, distinguishes the impulses and passions of man according to their quality and their character. It represents only good emotions, good dispositions, good thoughts as revelations and operations, that is, as dispositions and feelings and thoughts of God. For what God reveals is a quality of God himself, that of which the heart is full overflows to lips, as is the effect such as the cause, as the revelation such as the being who reveals himself. A God who reveals himself in good dispositions is a God who essentially attributes its only moral perfection. The Christian religion distinguishes inward moral purity from external physical purity. The Israelites identify the two. In relation to the Israelite thought, the Christian religion is one of criticism and freedom. The Israelite trusted himself to do nothing except what was commanded by God. He was without will even in external things. The authority of religion extended itself even to his food. The Christian religion, on the other hand, in all these external things made man dependent on himself. For example, placed in man what the Israelites placed out of himself in God. Israel is the most complete presentation of positivism in religion. In relation to the Israelite, the Christian is a free thinker. Thus do things change. What yesterday was still religion is no longer such today, and what today is atheism, tomorrow will be religion.